Assalamu alaikum and good morning. Welcome to the joint press takeout by the Honorable Foreign Ministers, His Excellency Shah Mahmood Qureshi and His Excellency Heiko Maas of Germany. As you have seen, there is a growing momentum in our bilateral relations. This is the second visit to Pakistan by Foreign Minister Maas this year. Foreign Minister Qureshi had also visited Germany earlier this year. We are also celebrating 70 years of establishment of diplomatic relations this year. In the interactions today, aspect of bilateral relations, and apart from that, the discussions had a regional focus. Remarks.
My dear friend, colleague, Foreign Minister Heiko Maas, I welcome you to Pakistan and to the Foreign Office once again. This is, as the spokesman said, our third meeting this year, and believe you me, every meeting helps in understanding each other better and creating an enabling environment to further deepen our bilateral relations. Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, the 2021 is the year of 70 years of diplomatic relations with Germany. And I'm happy to share with you that we have planned a number of activities to celebrate 70 years of close cooperation, coordination, and excellent bilateral relations in a befitting manner. Germany has been and is an important investor for Pakistan. There are over 35 multinationals operating and working in Pakistan as I speak to you and doing well. You are one of our largest trading partners within the European Union, and thank you for supporting us in the GSP Plus. And there are possibilities of enhancing our trade further. There are many areas where we can develop economic linkages in the future. Areas like renewable energy, solar energy, IT, housing, so many other areas where we electric vehicles, and there are opportunities that Germany must avail, in my view. In the special economic zones in CPEC, there are opportunities that you must think of. On defense matters, we've had good cooperation. The Army Chief's visit in June 2021 gave further momentum to those good understanding and cooperation. And there are areas on bilateral, in the bilateral affair that can further help our diaspora and our relations. For example, expeditious visa will help Pakistani students, businessmen, families, and if you could help doing that, that would be very helpful. For example, revision of travel advisory. You already have. Thank you for doing so. And a further upgradation would be highly appreciated. At the same time, we want to further sort of broaden our presence, like Consulate Munich. Pakistan is very keen, it's an important station, and we feel that our presence would add value to what we have over there. Ladies and gentlemen, we discussed the latest situation in Afghanistan. I had a good conversation with the Foreign Minister on the telephone on the 21st of August, and I requested him to visit Pakistan, and I'm highly appreciative. You're taking out time in a very, very busy time for yourself, and because of elections, for you to come to the region, to Pakistan, see things firsthand. Getting information through telegrams is one thing. Coming and meeting people and seeing things for yourself is totally different. And I am positive and I am confident, the assessment that you will make after having met, engaged with your staff here, with your embassy here, with your mission here, and with the political and the military leadership of Pakistan, with other regional players that you have visited, will give you a very good holistic view of what the challenges are, what the concerns are, what the opportunities are, and what needs to be done in the days ahead. How the international community should act. What are the advantages of remaining engaged? What would be the consequences of abandonment? What did we learn from the past? What should be done differently this time as opposed to the 90s? This is what needs closer consultation and discussions. I have shared our perspective. I'll be highly appreciative if the Foreign Minister and other colleagues coming in the next few days will be able to share Pakistan's perspective with their colleagues when they meet informally, in the European Union. Foreign Minister, before I conclude, I want to share with you that in my view, and I'm speaking as a politician, as a legislator, as a person who is on the ground, connected with the people, and not just an academic. This is a pivotal moment in Afghanistan's history. The international community must remain engaged. Humanitarian assistance must flow. Do not let the economic collapse in Afghanistan take place. Vacuum is in nobody's interest. Instability is in nobody's interest. Exodus of refugees cannot be stopped within the region. Look at the larger picture, the holistic picture, and when you do, I am sure you will make the right decisions, and you will be able to convince your colleagues, and Germany is a very, very important country. You have a very important international presence. Your voice matters. You're counted. So when you speak, you will be heard. So please do that. I want to thank you for visiting us. I look forward to continuing working with you and deepening our bilateral relations further. Thank you. Over to you.
Ja, vielen Dank, lieber Herr Kollege. Vielen Dank dafür, dass wir uns in einem sehr überschaubaren Zeitraum jetzt schon das 3. Mal treffen. Und da sind unsere Telefonate, die wir in der Zwischenzeit geführt haben, gar nicht mitgezählt. Das zeigt, dass wir wirklich uns sehr, sehr eng abstimmen. Nicht nur mit Blick auf Afghanistan, sondern auch bilateral insgesamt. Und darüber bin ich sehr dankbar. Heute bringt uns eben leider nicht, wie geplant, eigentlich das 70-jährige Jubiläum der diplomatischen Beziehungen zwischen Deutschland und Pakistan zusammen, sondern die dramatischen Entwicklungen in Afghanistan.
Well, thank you, dear colleague, Excellency. Thank you. This is indeed the 3rd meeting in a very short period of time, and I'm not counting phone calls in it. And it shows just how close Germany and Pakistan are coordinating, not only as far as Afghanistan is concerned, but also as far as our bilateral relations are concerned. And I'm very delighted and happy and grateful for that. Unfortunately, we're not gathered here today on the occasion of the 70th anniversary of the diplomatic relations between Pakistan and Germany, but rather we're here because of the dramatic developments in Afghanistan.
In dem internationalen Kraftakt, den es in den letzten Tagen gegeben hat mit vielen internationalen Partnern, haben wir in dieser Zeit verschiedene Personengruppen, deutsche Staatsangehörige, Ortskräfte und schutzbedürftige Menschen die Ausreise aus Afghanistan ermöglicht. Und auch Pakistan hat einen Anteil daran, dass das gelungen ist. So konnten zum Beispiel mit der Luftbrücke, die zwischen Islamabad und Kabul eingerichtet wurde, durch unsere niederländischen Partner auch deutsche Staatsbürger ausgeflogen werden, auch solche, die zur Aufnahme in Deutschland berechtigt gewesen sind. Und dafür will ich mich heute an dieser Stelle noch einmal ganz herzlich bedanken.
We've seen the major international efforts in the past days, and thanks to these efforts, various groups of people were evacuated out of Afghanistan. German nationals, local staff, other vulnerable Afghan men and women, and Pakistan had its share and played a part in the fact that we managed to do so successfully. For example, also thanks to the airlift between Islamabad and Kabul, which was established by our Dutch partners, we were able to evacuate German citizens and other people deemed eligible for admission in Germany, and I'm deeply grateful and thank you for that.
Und als Nachbarstaat bekommt Pakistan die Auswirkungen der Krise ganz besonders zu spüren, wie das für die Nachbarstaaten insgesamt gilt. Wir wissen um die politisch-wirtschaftlichen und auch gesellschaftlichen Folgen, die das hat und auch haben kann. Und deshalb will ich das auch hier sagen, wie auf den anderen Stationen meiner Reise, dass wir uns das nicht nur anschauen, sondern dass Deutschland euch und die Länder der Region mit diesen Herausforderungen nicht alleine lässt. Wir haben bereits 100 Millionen Euro für humanitäre Hilfe bereitgestellt. Mit weiteren 500 Millionen Euro wird die Bundesregierung auch die Nachbarstaaten über konkrete Projekte und Maßnahmen unterstützen. Und wir werden aber auch darüber hinaus ganz konkrete Projekte noch einmal darüber hinaus fordern, etwa beim Thema Grenzmanagement bis hin zu den Fragen Extremismusprävention.
Pakistan, as a neighbor of Afghanistan, is fully experiencing the effects of this crisis, and I'm going to say this here, but I also said it in previous stops of my journey. We're not only going to look at the situation, but Germany stands ready to support the neighboring countries, the region. We will not abandon you in facing these challenges. So we've already provided 100 million euro in humanitarian assistance, and the federal government also pledged 500 million euro for projects and measures in the neighboring countries. And beyond that, we're also promoting tangible, concrete projects such as border management and projects pertaining to the prevention of extremism.
Wir haben in den letzten Wochen, wir tun dies aktuell und wir werden das auch in der Zukunft tun, sehr eng zusammengearbeitet mit Pakistan, wenn es darum ging, deutsche Staatsbürger nach Deutschland zu bringen. Wir wissen, dass es weiterhin deutsche Staatsbürger in Afghanistan gibt, auch solche, die einen Aufenthaltstitel in Deutschland bekommen. Und wir wollen als Bundesregierung dafür sorgen, dass denjenigen auch die Möglichkeit gegeben wird, in Zukunft nach Ende der militärischen Luftbrücke das Land zu verlassen und nach Deutschland zu kommen. Und auch dazu haben wir heute gesprochen und auch dazu werden wir in Zukunft weiter eng zusammenarbeiten, wofür ich auch außerordentlich dankbar bin.
In the past weeks and also today and in the future, we're closely coordinating with Pakistan as far as the evacuation of German citizens to Germany is concerned. We know that there are still German nationals in Afghanistan right now, and people who have received a residency permit to come to Germany. And of course, we also want to make sure that those people have the possibility after the end of the military evacuation to come to Germany. And this is what we talked about today, and we're also going to coordinate and closely cooperate in the future regarding this. And I'd like to express my gratitude and thank you for your efforts in this regard.
Thank you.
Thank you, ministers. I believe the foreign ministers would have time to take a couple of questions. Kindly introduce yourself while posing your question. Gentlemen on the right side.
Michael Fischer, Deutsche Presseagentur. Herr Minister Maas, die letzten US-Soldaten haben gestern oder heute Nacht Afghanistan verlassen. Der internationale Militäreinsatz ist jetzt beendet. Für die Bemühungen, schutzbedürftige Afghanen außer Landes zu bringen, bedeutet das, dass man nun vollständig auf die Taliban angewiesen ist. Mich würde interessieren, für wie verlässlich Sie die Zusage der Taliban erhalten, freies Geleit zu gewähren bei der Ausreise auf dem Landweg. Und wann, glauben Sie, wird vom Flughafen Kabul der erste Charterflug starten? And Minister Qureshi, Pakistan has taken in millions of refugees over the last 40 years. Nowadays, your refugee policy is very restrictive. Can you imagine under any circumstances to change this policy, for example, if massive international aid would be granted?
I'm going to quickly interpret the question into English.
Yes,
No,
yes,
no.
please.
No? Okay. The last American soldiers have left Afghanistan last night. The military mission has ended. So in order to evacuate vulnerable Afghan citizens, we rely fully on the Taliban now. It depends on their pledges to guarantee free travel via land routes. When, Mr. Minister, is the first charter flight going to take off Kabul airport again?
Zunächst einmal gibt es die Zusagen der Taliban. Ob man sich darauf verlassen kann, wird man, glaube ich, erst in den kommenden Tagen und auch Wochen sehen. Möglicherweise wird in Kürze eine neue Regierung von den Taliban vorgestellt. Auch das wird einen ersten Hinweis darauf geben, ob unserer Forderung, dass diese Regierung eine inklusive sein soll, auch gerecht geworden ist. Wir halten es für wichtig, auch den Teil der afghanischen Bevölkerung, der nicht durch die Taliban repräsentiert wird, in dieser Regierung zu repräsentieren. Und wir werden sehen, wie dies von den Taliban bei der Vorstellung ihrer neuen Regierung auch berücksichtigt worden ist. Wir bereiten uns, weil es diese Zusage gibt, zusammen mit anderen darauf vor, Menschen, sobald der Flughafen wieder operabel ist, und wir hoffen, dass das in einem überschaubaren Zeitraum der Fall ist, für besondere Charterflüge zur Verfügung steht und Menschen über den Flughafen ausgeflogen werden. Wir sehen aber auch jetzt, dass es Menschen gibt, die sich auf dem Landweg zu den Grenzen Afghanistans begeben, und wir brauchen Verfahren, um diese Menschen, sofern sie zu denjenigen gehören, die einen Aufenthaltstitel bei uns haben oder bekommen, diese von diesen Ländern auch nach Deutschland bringen. Und das ist natürlich eine der Themen gewesen auf dieser Reise, die wir hier besprochen haben. Und ich fliege heute weiter nach Doha. In Doha, in Katar, gibt es intensive Kontakte zu den Taliban, um auch dort noch einmal die Informationen zu erhalten, die uns dabei behilflich sein können, einzuschätzen, inwieweit die Zusagen der Taliban eingehalten werden. Wir wollen nicht nur, dass sie eingehalten werden, sondern wir wollen sie jetzt auch umsetzen, und dazu führen wir selbst auch weitere Gespräche zurzeit mit den Taliban.
Yes, there is the pledge by the Taliban. Whether these pledges and the commitments made are reliable remains to be seen in the coming days and weeks. Soon the Taliban are going to introduce and present a new government, and it remains to be seen. This is an indicator for us. It remains to be seen if this government is as inclusive a government as we demanded it to be. It is important for us that all Afghans, also Afghans who do not support the Taliban, are represented and feel represented by this government. And it remains to be seen if the Taliban will take this into account. We're also preparing, in close cooperation with others, to organize charter flights as soon as Kabul airport is operable again. And we will see, we're already seeing now that people are traveling via land routes to the borders of Afghanistan, and we need procedures to make these people, to bring these people to Germany if they're eligible for admission to Germany and to bring them to Germany. This is a topic that I discussed with my colleagues during this trip, and I'm also going to travel to Doha, Qatar, where there are contacts to the Taliban and discussions with the Taliban, and I hope we will receive the information and get the necessary information that we need in order to assess if the Taliban will honor their commitments and honor their pledges, but not only honoring them, but also will act on them.
Responding to your question, aware of the fact that we are hosting over 3 billion Afghan refugees for decades. We've been as hospitable as we could, and they have been secure here. They have had health facilities, education facilities in Pakistan, and they've also, been given opportunities for livelihood in Pakistan. Now, can we take more? The honest answer is that it's not a question of assistance only, economic assistance, and you said if the international community is willing to give more money, can you take them? It's not a question of money. We've been hosting them without money and without international assistance. The question is of capacity. Can we absorb more refugees is what needs to be understood. That is one. Secondly, despite the challenging situation in Afghanistan, security situation, as well as the COVID situation, we've kept our borders open for pedestrian crossing. People who have documents have been allowed in. Trade has continued from Chaman and from Torkham. So we facilitated in every possible way to keep things calm and stable in Afghanistan. What we need to work on, and that is what we've discussed, is why not create an environment within Afghanistan that there is no need for refugees. The idea is to help and the international community to play its role, remain engaged, so that the need for exodus is not there. That should be our preference number one.
I believe there is a request from one of our German colleagues.
Daniel Brössler, Süddeutsche Zeitung. Herr Maas, ich würde gerne nochmal auf den endgültigen Abzug der US-Treppen zu sprechen kommen. Das ist ja eine Zäsur. Ich würde Sie bitten, hier nochmal ein grundsätzlicheres Fazit zu ziehen. Wie groß war hier insgesamt das Versagen des Westens, Deutschlands und auch von Ihnen persönlich? Und Ihr Gastgeber hat ja gesagt, es ist was anderes, die Entwicklung aus der Ferne zu sehen. Man muss sich das in der Region anschauen. Welche Lehren ziehen Sie aus dem, was Sie hier in der Region hören, und inwieweit unterscheidet sich vielleicht das von den Diskussionen in Berlin? And Minister Qureshi, if I may, there's a lot of criticism in Germany about not timely and not correct assessments of the recent developments in Afghanistan. Do you share this criticism, and what is your assessment on the reaction of the West so far now on the new situation? Would you expect the West to recognize the Taliban and to work with them, and do you see too much mistrust on the side of the West towards the Taliban?
What was the last part?
If you have the impression...
Turning point, and I would kindly ask you to take stock how big. Most rightly said, it's different whether you look on from afar, or whether you travel to the region and see for yourself. What lessons do you draw?
Assessment. There is unanimity that the assessment proved wrong. Perhaps the people, the Ashraf Ghani government was painting a picture to the West and allies who were supporting them of everything is fine, the problem is created somewhere else, otherwise Afghanistan is fine. Governance is doing okay, institutions are functioning, but the fact is that they were not speaking the truth. They were lying. They were miscalculating. And that miscalculation has shaken the world. This sudden collapse that you saw, where were those 300,000 people trained, equipped? Where were those institutions that were sort of erected over 20 years? Why did the government collapse the way it did? Why did you flee? Why didn't you hold your ground and stand for what you believe in? Your pronouncement was, I will be there and I'll fight to the last. But you fled with your aides and colleagues. And that resulted in that sudden and immediate collapse. So, in fact, allow me to say, we are neighbors. I shared this with the foreign minister. We are neighbors. Even it was so sudden that we could not anticipate things. When the Taliban were moving into Kabul, even they were perplexed to see the lack of resistance. Right? So, that is the situation. Now, the question of recognition. As the foreign minister said, that the international community is waiting and watching. I would suggest that the initial statements that are coming out of the Taliban leadership are encouraging. They're positive. We should nudge them in the right direction and give them the benefit of doubt. Obviously, they will have to act on the pronouncements, and it's a question of time. It's a question of time. Very soon it will be obvious whether they have a desire for an inclusive government, whether they mean what they have said, and if they do, and the indications are that their approach is different from the past, then I think the ground realities as they stand today would be in the interest of the international community to judge the ground realities and see what is the best way forward. In my view, engagement as opposed to turning away would be in the larger interest of the region and the international community. And that is what Pakistan would urge. Stay engaged. Abandonment is not an option. It will have consequences. It has had consequences, and we've all suffered those consequences. Let us not repeat the mistakes of the past. So, can we trust the Taliban? Let's see. Let's see. They implement what they've said, and if they do, engage with them. And they also realize that they would require support. They would require humanitarian assistance. They would require economic assistance, financial assistance in the days ahead. And if they do require this, then they will have to respect human rights and the international norms and opinion.
Zu der Frage, die an mich gestellt wurde, für mich gibt es eine große Lehre aus dem Scheitern in Afghanistan. Das ist nämlich die Frage, für was sind militärische Interventionen geeignet und für was nicht. Ich glaube, dass eine militärische Intervention geeignet ist, um eine terroristische Bedrohung zu beenden, um einen Krieg zu beenden und um die Verletzung von Menschenrechten zu beenden. Ich glaube, nach den Abläufen in Afghanistan müssen wir uns in der westlichen Staatengemeinschaft, aber auch darüber hinaus, aber auch sehr intensiv die Frage stellen, ob militärische Interventionen geeignet sind, um die von uns bevorzugte Staatsform zu exportieren. Das ist ganz offensichtlich in Afghanistan gescheitert und ich glaube, das muss auch eine der Lehren sein, die wir in der internationalen Politik ziehen, dass über die Dinge Terrorismus bekämpfen, Frieden schaffen, die Verletzung von Menschenrechten beenden, militärische Interventionen nicht geeignet sind, um langfristig eine Staatsform zu exportieren. Und das wird sich auswirken müssen auf die Ziele von internationalen Einsätzen und auch auf die Dauer von internationalen Einsätzen.
For me, the important lesson I draw out of the failure in Afghanistan is the question, what are military interventions suited for? I believe they're suited to combat terrorist threats and wars and human rights violations. And in the West, in the international community at large, we have to ask ourselves if military interventions are suitable to export form of government, which we prefer. This was not successful in Afghanistan, and this is why we have to draw the necessary lessons that beyond fighting terrorism, beyond ending human rights violations, beyond creating peace, military interventions are not suited to export a specific form of government. And we need to think about the purposes and also the duration of military interventions.
We can have one question from that side, the lady at the back.
Mr. Shah Mahmood Qureshi, my question is from you. Since we are doing a lot for decades, Afghan, US, German and other national refugees or persons we evacuated from Afghanistan till date?
To date, I can't give you the exact figure, but I'll give you a rough figure. And the rough figure is that we have from the 15th of August till the 30th of August, we've evacuated safely over 10,000.
Maybe we can have a question from the gentleman in the fourth row.
Thank you, German Foreign Minister. This is Mateen Haider. I represent GTV Network. Latest report indicates that IS Khurasani group in Afghanistan has claimed the responsibility of the terror attacks at Kabul airport. This Khurasani group is completely funded, supported, trained by India. So Indian role in Afghanistan is totally destructive. That has been in the previous regime, and in the latest attack it has been proven. So you are visiting regional countries. Will you take up this matter with the regional leadership about this destructive and terror role of India in Afghanistan? And how you see Pakistan's positive contributions for peace and stability in Afghanistan? And to our Foreign Minister, Mr. Foreign Minister, you have been in touch, you have been to the regional countries. Why there is a delay in the formation of inclusive and broad-based government in Afghanistan? Because the more delay in the formation of inclusive government, more instability will be there. Thank you both Foreign Ministers.
You want to go first? Or should I?
Wir sind mit Blick auf die letzten beiden Wochen, aber auch darüber hinaus für die enge Kooperation mit der pakistanischen Regierung und ich auch persönlich meinem pakistanischen Kollegen außerordentlich dankbar. Es ist für uns sehr wichtig gewesen, viele Informationen aus der unmittelbaren Nähe zu bekommen, auch wenn wir alle die Lage am Schluss so nicht haben kommen sehen, zumindest nicht in dieser Geschwindigkeit. Und international für die Länder der Region, auch für Indien, ist es jetzt sehr wichtig, dass wir uns gemeinsam eine Strategie erarbeiten für die weiteren Entwicklungen in Afghanistan. Und deshalb ist unser Ansatz, dafür zu sorgen, dass es internationale Einigkeit gibt. Die Tatsache, dass es eine Resolution des Sicherheitsrates zu Afghanistan gegeben hat, ist ein wichtiger und positiver Schritt in diese Richtung. Und ich hoffe, dass auch in der Region es möglich sein wird, dass wir uns hinter einem gemeinsamen Approach in all diesen Fragen versammeln können.
Against the backdrop, in light of the events of the past weeks, I'm very grateful, extremely grateful for the close cooperation between Germany and Pakistan. It is important to receive all that information from the immediate neighborhood of Afghanistan. We didn't see events coming, at least not at this, in this speed. For the broader region, also for India, it is important to discuss and develop a common strategy as far as the developments in Afghanistan are concerned. We need international unity. We need to stand united. And the fact that the United Nations Security Council passed a resolution is an important step in that direction. And I hope that we will be able to continue to build upon this close cooperation in the region.
Responding to your question, I can say Shakespeare said, beware, beware the Ides of March Macbeth. So I've been constantly saying to the international community, beware, beware the role of spoilers within and beyond. That is important. The international objective is peace and stability. The international community has to discern between those who are standing on the side of peace and stability and have to differentiate between those who, for self-interest, are taking steps that will not be helpful in promoting peace and stability. They are well informed. In our bilateral conversations, we've had discussions on that. I don't have to elaborate. You're smart enough to understand what I'm alluding to. The second part of your question was the delay in the formation of a government in Afghanistan. Obviously, you cannot have a vacuum there, and the statements that did come out from the Taliban, if I recall correctly, they were that they will announce the discussions on. The talks are taking place, but they said they will announce the government once the withdrawal has been completed. Now, yesterday, the formal announcement came that the withdrawal is complete. I think in the next few days, you can expect the announcement of a government.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Foreign Ministers. Thank you for your